What's up, y'all? I wasn't come on tonight, so I just thought I'd come on randomly and just speak. I want to bring some people on. Who want to come on live and talk? I want y'all to ask me questions. I want to show the importance of understanding of what's going on. I was out in a protest last night in my city, and what I saw was a lot of pain, anger. I saw a lot of peace on, it's crazy to say besides, but I saw it all. And, as simple as this sounds, as a world, as simple as it sounds, and as difficult as it is, if we just all would, I feel you. I feel you. I understand you. I hear you. I hurt with you. It would be a lot easier walking into somebody's shoes. But the thing is, man, this has been a battle that's been going on. It's just most people either didn't know, didn't care to know. And I've been having a lot of people hit me up and say, Trent, what could I do? How can I play my part? You play your part by understanding, for one. Understanding that you don't know what you don't know. Understanding that you might have a closed mind and it's time to open your mind. Understanding that this is an effect because of a cause, a deep-rooted cause. This just didn't come from somewhere. And I am very happy for everybody that's speaking out. But I want to tell you something, man. And I ain't trying to bring any type of negativity to that, because I appreciate it. And it just shows people are putting positive pressure on the world. I made a video 4 years ago on my, I don't know if y'all saw it on my Facebook, and I talked about my Instagram. Literally, I could have took that video and just put it out today or yesterday, and y'all would have thought that I recorded that video last night. It just shows that not much has really changed, in this world. And I don't know if protesting is the answer. I think it's a part of it. I don't know if posting online is the answer. I think it's a part of it. But it's about doing more. And it's about asking yourself and being honest with yourself and looking yourself in the mirror and say, what could I do? Everybody. I have to look at myself and I have to ask myself, how am I contributing to the problem? What can I do more? And if you can't see yourself as contributing to the problem, please listen to these words. If you can't see yourself contributing to the problem, you will never understand the power you have to contributing to the solution. And I see a lot of people it's crazy. I felt earlier last week, maybe even Wednesday, Thursday, so many people were afraid to speak out, right? And rightfully so, I get it. So many people were afraid to speak out because of the backlash. And now it's people are afraid to stay silent because of the backlash. But I just want to tell you, you got to be real for you. Posting on social media is great for awareness. It's a start, but it got to be real for you, because posting on social media ain't enough. It's not. And people going to hold you accountable, bro. I'm being real with you. So it got to be real for you. And to my white friends on here, and it's crazy we have to say this, let me say something. I had a shirt that a lot of y'all know is my best-selling shirt ever. It was called Colorblind. Y'all remember that shirt? Best-selling shirt. Black people, white people bought it. Everybody bought it. And I stopped selling it. I haven't sold it in years. And people always ask to bring back that shirt. And the intentions behind that shirt were good. I want to see character. For real. I judge a man by his character, not by his color. But I understood. Somebody hit me up and said, Trent, I understand what you're doing, but you got to realize you're telling people not to see color. People should see color. And I agree. And so I never put that shirt out. That shirt was my most profitable shirt, but I never put it out because the goal is not to be blind to someone's color. The goal is to see someone's color, honor their color, appreciate their color, all of that stuff. That's the goal. And, people are saying all lives matter. The Black Lives Matter thing was negative a few months ago. People are saying all lives matter. And even I've said that at a point, because I do believe that. But all lives don't matter. All lives cannot matter if all lives don't matter. You feel me? All lives don't matter if all lives don't matter. And all lives don't matter until all lives do matter. And so realize that and understand that. And when I say like doing your part, it's about getting outside of your bubble. Everybody, like your little privilege bubble, everybody, your comfort bubble, everybody. So if you want to understand someone, you got to walk into their shoes. You got to put yourself in their environment. You know what I'm saying? Like if you want to feel how someone feels, put yourself in their environment. You know, to my white friends on here, I'll tell you, go to the inner city. Go to the inner city. And if you feel uncomfortable, then you kind of feel what some black people feel uncomfortable when they might get interaction with the police like I do. And I know there's great cops. There's cops that are my friends. So it's not like to bash cops. It sucks that a few bad cops can make a lot of bad people, a lot of great cops look bad. But that's life. How many of us have had experience with someone in a different race and we label that person, we label everybody that person? I mean, everybody that way. How many of us have made people pay for mistakes that they didn't make? Like we all do that. And so if you're not willing to like really like dedicate your life to this, like sit down, man. Like, and I get it. Everybody's donating, which is needed. It's necessary. But you know, the best thing that you can donate is your time. And I want to talk to people that's in my industry, in my space. Like straight up, like donate your time. Like go speak to the inner city schools. Go to these schools, talk to these kids. You know, go coach these kids. Go volunteer your time so they can understand you. And you might look stupid. They might look at you like, why are you here? But that's something you got to be willing to do. I've done it in different environments. I've spoken to all white people where I look like the outcast. I've spoken to black people. I've spoken to whatever. Universal. You come to my events. You see everybody. Because I don't have my messages where I make sure my stuff is like just to a particular event. You know, I was running today, not an event, but a particular race or social class, you know, or anything like that. I was running today and this came up in my head. I know a lot of people aren't going to like it, but you can't post about minorities or anything if you choose to ignore this whole situation, the reality of it, because some of us in this space, let's be honest, let's be real. And I know some of y'all might get off. Some of y'all might be upset, but I don't care. Let's be real. You know, a lot of us, we talking about, you know, how we for minorities now and all this stuff, but yet our businesses don't benefit from minorities. Our businesses aren't for not even just minorities, but for people that are underprivileged. Let's talk about that for a minute. So maybe it's some things that you need to change. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm in this personal development space and it ain't too many people that look like me in it. Let's have a real conversation. I don't see it. I don't. And that could be, you know, that could be because people aren't interested. That could be maybe people can't afford it. I don't know. But you have to do what you can do to be like, okay, how can, if you look at your life and you like, dang, like I just got all white people in my life. That's it. Or all black people in my life. That's it. And I get it, you know, proximity, what you're around. But if you look at your business, you look at your team and all that stuff, like, I'm sorry, God, I'm just speaking from the heart right now. And I'm just letting it out because I've been wanting to let this out for a while. And if you ever heard me speak on stage, you see me dibble and dabble on this, but I respect other people's stuff. But this is just the truth of the matter, man. It's like, we can't ignore these things. Like I just hate, even as me, like people say, oh, we need diversity. So let's put Trent as a speaker so we can be diverse now. Like, that's whack, bro. Nah, it is. You know, and I ain't settling for it anymore. You know, and let's be honest. We talk about privilege. Like, let's be honest. I've dealt with companies where it'd be somebody that's white that I know that's a speaker that I'm not going to say better than whatever like that, but that I know that they paid a certain amount of money. And then when they come to me and I know I can hold it down and I know I'm a better probably speaker and communicator than that person and they offer me less. Why is that? Why I gotta be like that? And it's not just me. It's a lot of that in the world that goes on. A lot of that. And I can tell you story after story after story after story in my life. So we got to change the narrative, man. You got to change the narrative in your life, your industry, your team, all of that. You got to change the narrative. If you're not willing to change the narrative for it, you're a part of the problem. You're a part of the problem. If you think it's just going to be like, okay, I'm just going to show I have black friends now and that's it. Nah, it can't be like that. When I look at my life, I see diversity in my life. I see diversity in my friends. I can go anywhere and be respect because I know love and respect, given that is the greatest language of all. So just look at your life, man. Just look at it, because I'm going to break this down in my podcast. I don't want to give too much away because I'm not fully there with it yet. But I feel like it's about understanding. It's about educating yourself. It's about educating yourself. It's easy to understand someone's actions when you know the reasons for their pain. It's easy. Then reflect. Reflect on your life and realize, like, okay, what do I need to do? How have I been the problem in my life? How have I been the problem on my team? In my business, in my company? Reflect on that. And then last is to act. What you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it? Because right now it's popular. It's popular right now to talk about this stuff. It's popular. But what's gonna happen 3 months from now? We're gonna go back to just being entertained? And I can talk about this because I've been dedicating my life for this for the last 10 years. And not necessarily being an activist, but preaching goodness. Preaching like everybody is preaching all these things. And so I can speak about it because this ain't no just flip on switch for me now. But my thing is, how you going to act from here on out? What changes are you going to make? You still going to have it where if people can't afford it, they can't be a part of your circle. They can't be a part of your events. They can't be a part of what you do. So, but who am I to tell you what to do with your life? I just want to speak on that, man, because it's so much bigger than just what's going on. And a lot of people, I don't want to prejudge anybody. I don't even want to say that. But I do know, if you're worried about your brand and all of that stuff, man, that's whack. That's whack. If you're worried about people not following you no more, that's whack. It's whack. What you doing it for? What you signed up for? That's my question. What you doing it for? That's anybody. Like, what you doing it for? If you're worried about what people are going to say, it's about standing up for what's right. It's about standing up for what's right. Some of us, we so afraid to stand up for what's right because we so afraid that people gon' not like us no more. Who cares about if people like you, agree with you when you stand up for what's right? But some of us, we're afraid to stand up for what's right. Some of us don't know what to say. I understand that. But stand up for what's right. That's not hard to do. When you have a problem in your life, when you don't know what to do, what do? You figure it out. You ask questions. You go educate yourself, right? Do the same with this. Ask questions. Go educate yourself. I've had multiple FaceTimes with white people, multiple FaceTimes over the last days. And it's so beautiful because it's like, man, I never knew that. I never saw it like that. I've never experienced that. And I've learned a lot that I haven't experienced, right? And that's what it's about. Nobody wants to have the hard conversations. We want to get on social media, post something, get some claps on the back, and that's it. And we go back to living our regular life. So I want to just say this to everybody that's posting stuff. We need to hold everybody accountable. Hold me accountable. Everybody needs to be held accountable, because if we just do it when it's popular and we forget about it, then guess what? The next situation is going to happen. It's going to be popular. We're going to forget about it, and nothing's ever going to change. Nothing's ever going to change. Yes, we need to change laws. We need to change a lot of stuff. We need to put more minorities in positions to let them know that they're just not rappers and athletes. They can do whatever they man. I know y'all feel my pain, like straight up. I know y'all feel my pain. You know what makes me proud? You know what makes me proud? Like, more than anything, not that I was a football player, not that I was an NFL player, not that I was anything like that. You know what makes me proud? Like, for real, is when me in the position I am as an author, me in the position that I'm in as a whatever title you want to give me, just the things that I do. When I go coach my youth football team, when I go to the schools, when I go to the city, and they like, dang, like you can be they see a bigger picture than what they think the world only cares for them for. Like, we only care about minority, not everybody, but it's like, oh, you got to dribble basketball, so we salute you then. Oh, you're an entertainer, we salute you then, an actor then. Nah, man. You can break into anything. You can be a doctor. You can be whatever that you want. You can be a public speaker. You can be whatever that you want. I'm in this thing to break barriers. And that's why I look like I look, and I stay looking like this. Oh, Trent, you're not professional enough. You know how many times I got that? I know what that means. I almost said something else. I know what that means. I know exactly what that means. But you know what? I come on stage every time just like this. If you can't accept me for who I am, go find somebody else then. Facts. And this is why I fight for it. This is why. You know, we see it now, right? We see the privilege now. This is why I fight for it. And it's not fair. It's not. But I'm not a woe is me type of person. I'm not going to tuck my tail. I'm not going to surrender to anything. I'm going to keep fighting for it. Keep fighting for it. That's why I honor to always be myself. And so it's a lot. You know, it's a lot that goes on besides this. The world is hurting. I get it. I know people are hurting. I'm not trying to condemn anybody or I'm trying to make you feel uncomfortable. You should feel uncomfortable because that's when change takes place. I know, you know, I posted my video. You know, I should have seen my inbox. You know how many, and I don't promote this because I don't want people I don't want to start anything. But you should have seen my inbox on Facebook. You know, my video, I went live and it's like 1 million views, 30,000 comments. You should see my inbox. You should have seen my inbox. How many names I was called. But I don't care about that. Because I'm standing for something that's bigger than me. That's bigger than me. And I know what I represent. I know what I stand for. I know my heart. I know how much I care for people. I know how much. And yes, there's more that I could do. There's more that I can do. And I realize that I am a part of the problem because I'm not doing the more that I can do. We all are a part of the problem. But you know, in me realizing that, guess what I found? The power that I have to create more solutions. And that's what it's about. So reflect. If you're a business owner, look at your business. Are you just catering to certain type of people? If you're in your life, your circle of friends, right? Go find new friends. Go have conversations with other people, other races, and do this. All right? I just came on here random, man, because I wanted to post a story, but I was like, I just can't find the words to post right now. So I just thought I'll just come on live and just speak raw from the heart. I'm gonna go on Facebook Live later and actually have my thoughts together, what I want to say. But man, let me bring somebody on. Who want to come on here? Let's talk. You know, I just think, you know, and I don't know, man. It's just a lot. It's a lot emotionally for everybody, you know, for everybody. My wife, you know, Maria, she had someone that she knew killed in Indianapolis. You know, and it's like, when does this end? But I have my conversations with my dad in the 60s. You know, my dad couldn't even eat. White and black people couldn't even eat together. It's not far removed. You know, that's not far removed. And that's why, you know, as a man of faith, you know, oh, man. You know, when I struggle to find words, that's how you know it's tough. But who got questions? Okay, cool. What's up? What's up?
What's up?
You said you got questions. I don't know if I have answers, but I got to answer. What questions do you have? Let's just conversate.
All right. So I am very much like you.
Yeah.
I live my life. It's actually been hard to even pick out who my friends that are black because I don't see them for their color. I see them for their heart. I see them for their character. And I live by that. They know I'll take a bullet for them, and all of that. I live this harsh reality of I was abused by a black man and sexually assaulted and all. So all of this harsh reality of everything bad that's going on is so triggering. Like, all of that is what's really difficult. So how do you balance the negativity and all of that? Because I realized yesterday I had to disconnect. I had to go out and protect my peace, shut down the phone, all of that. But how do we live this balance of speaking up but also protecting our mental health?
Yeah. So for one, I'm sorry that happened to you. And this is the thing, right? And that's why I say it works on both sides where, you know, obviously you're going through trauma that I've never been through. And, but boy, man, I don't know when it happened, whatever, it doesn't represent all black men.
It's only one
You know what I'm
person.
saying? But that's the thing too, that we have to understand on the flip side that, you know, the police or whoever. Like, it doesn't represent all, and that's what happens a lot. Even if we don't know it, like it becomes rooted in our soul. Like, oh, this person's like this, so I'll have somebody look at me a certain way, and I'm just like, I think I'm the kindest person ever. But how I'm dressed, how I look, it might not seem like that, and it's like, oh, I'm sure they had something, an experience in their life. Maybe it's a bad experience, and so me even understanding that, it helps me have compassion for someone who might be judging me unfairly. Um, but I'll tell you, like, as far as protecting your peace, I mean, I just went out there and protected my peace. But sometimes, as we protect our peace, we got to go through moments where, we got to jump in and we got to be willing to fight for what's right. And sometimes our peace aren't going to be protected in that. And I just always think that in order to really protect my peace, I got to fight against the things that disturb my peace. And I know I got to go in this moment right now and do that. And everybody's not going to like it. Everybody's not going to agree with it. But it's about speaking out. And like you said, like, you have a lot of Black friends, you have a lot of, you don't see color, and I get what you're saying with that. Like, some people, even when you say that, some people are gonna be like, well, you should see. I understand what you're saying with that. But I would challenge you in this moment to, which I know you're doing, is just to honor it, honor,
Yeah.
honor one's color, right? Because we lived in a world where we've been programmed. And listen, there's a lot, like, there's so many pockets, but obviously I'm talking about right now. We've been programmed to feel like we're not enough. Even in my story, in my life, like I said, not just speaking. I mean, I could talk about growing up where, like, literally, like, this is sad, and I didn't even understand it. Like, I went to a private school because of sports, predominantly white. And we have third grade. Like, this is rooted in me. Third grade, we had a play, Wizard of Oz. And I wanted to, that's what I was trying to try out for. I didn't get it, and they put me literally as the king of the monkeys. Like, that was my thing. I was the only Black person. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, I didn't even understand it at that point. But as I started to think about it, like, that's really messed up. Another situation where, my brother just reminded me of this the other day. It's like, it's a party, and I'm in a predominantly white school. So it's a private school for sports. And I'm at one of my friend's house, and we're going to this party. And, I think, I don't know if my parents called, his parents called, hey, Trent's coming. And it's like, oh, Trent can't come. We don't have enough cake for Trent. And it's just like, those little things have been barriers to make us feel like we're not enough for so long. And I'm not saying that sometimes we don't even realize that because we're so into our lives and stuff like that. And so just right now, I just feel like it's a time to, your peace might not be as protected. Maybe it's time to definitely deal with the things that you've dealt with, obviously, in your life. Maybe it's time for you to disconnect and just stand up for what's right. And standing up for what's right isn't going to look like everybody else, by the way.
Right. What I find also interesting is, so I also went to a private school back in Philly, and my private school is actually more filled with Black people because they were pulling people outside of Philly for a school with learning differences so they could be supported. So when I went to Philly, I was usually the minority because all of my friends behind me were Black. So anytime I made a statement, people gave me the look of, why are you hanging out with them? Why are you, all of that comes with it. And I was like, are you literally just saying this with me, about me, or to me, because the people standing behind me are Black? So,
Yeah.
like, I feel like I've been in your shoes of, like, all of that. But it's also just, then we have this whole thing going on, and we're living in a fucking pandemic. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great point,
because
because
I want to be down in Portland and I fucking want to be there with everybody, but I'm an essential healthcare worker who can't take risk going down there and bringing COVID back to my community. Like,
yeah,
that's not going to help anything. So it's
yeah,
like, I don't know. It's like it's one problem on top of another on top of another. It's a huge sandwich.
it's tough. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if there is an answer. I don't know if anybody has the answer. I just, I will always go back to, like, just doing your part and what's right. And it starts with, I hate to say it. I don't
The
hate to say
back of my shirt,
it.
it all starts
It
with you.
starts with you. And it does. Like, it starts in your household. Like, hatred, you're not born. It's a person. I have a quote I said a long time ago. Nobody's born cold hearted. Nobody is. Right. people turn cold over time because of experiences, whether they were, probably were unfair experiences. And I've never met a baby that's cold-hearted. So those things are learned, those things are taught. And until we can take the responsibility to teach different things, and it takes someone like yourself, right? Being uncomfortable, getting to speaking and having, people of, Black people or just even minorities, people of color, just seeing you to say, oh, wait, like you break the stereotype for them. Like I'm a person that I want to break the stereotype. So whatever stereotype you had of, if it's somebody with dreads and tattoos and you feel like that's a image of a thug, you're never going to think that again when you meet me. You know what I'm saying? So like, I feel like we all have to do our part, and we all are doing our part, and just having this conversation is doing. And so we just stand up for what's right. Like, forget political sides, left or right. I mean, I don't know if you saw Divided States of America, but I wrote, like, forget all that.
I watched that in like when it came really.
Yeah, and I got criticized for that, like big time. I got criticized, and I literally wrote that with all facts in mind. I was like, there's no way you can debate this. Like, I'm just talking like, unless you are in love with evil and hatred, that's the only way you'll go against this. And we got to stand up for what's right. We got to put our selfishness aside, right, to stand up for what's right. But we live in a world where everybody wants to be right. So we'll ignore what we know is wrong, but we're so self-centered and we want to prove ourselves right all the time, or prove ourselves for social media hype or social media likes. We will ignore what's wrong, or we'll say, you know what? I would say someone's name, but I don't want to give this girl any recognition. But I have a person who comes to mind, like literally right now. And you will ignore what's wrong just so to prove yourself right. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem that we have. Like, I can call out my wrongs. I can say, you know what? I represented this and this wasn't right. Like, this is not what it is. And so, yeah, we just live in a place like that. But I appreciate you for coming on here and talking. And
can I ask you one more question?
Yeah, what's up?
All right. So all right. Fuck it. Do you feel like you are being supported by the Hollis Company with all this? Because I kid you not, I listened to the podcast and I was like, Trent's 110% right. Like, doesn't matter about the brand, doesn't matter about anything. So yesterday I was scrolling on like all my friends. I was checking out all my friends, seeing who they were posting about Black Lives Matter. And I realized that the Hollis Company didn't really have much posted about Black Lives Matter, anything. And I was like, what if that was Trent?
Yeah.
And I messaged Shannon or something, who works for the Hollis Company, and she even was like, shit. And she was like, you need to send this exact email to the Hollis Company.
Yeah.
So I just want to know, like, do you feel supported? Like, because I looked on their Instagram and I was like, this isn't right.
Yeah, so this is what I feel personally. Like, yeah. I'm gonna just be 100% straight up facts.
Yeah, that's what I want.
So I know both, like, Dave and Rachel, right? And I know what they stand for, they believe in. And I know who they are, right? So whatever, like, she said, like, because I don't know, like, I haven't been in tune. So whatever she said, how she felt, whatever, that's how she feels. You know what I'm saying? Like, so maybe whatever. I saw Dave supported, so I just know them as people, and I know what they represent. And so, like, far as the company, I don't know. That's not my company. So, but as far as them, I know I'm supported by them for sure.
Yeah, totally.
For sure. So yeah, but I'm just, and this is just facts too. Like, it's a lot of, like, it's just all around stuff. Like, it's just, I feel like the whole personal development industry, I'm gonna say it, like, just facts. Like, I think this is a wake up call for everybody. But I want to, and I'm gonna go here. Forget it. We here, so might as well go here. You asked the question, so we're gonna go here. So,
I have a lot of things we could talk about.
This is my thing, right? And in the industry that I'm in, like, people put me in. I don't really consider myself in this space, but people put me in this space, right? And so, whenever I go speak somewhere, and listen, this is the thing too, like, your audience is gonna be your audience. Like, whatever whatever audience, like, relates to you, they're gonna be your audience. So I don't want to be like, oh, you should have a Black audience, you should have a white audience. Your audience is gonna be your audience, whatever.
Right.
But I will say this, like, when I go speak and not just like to businesses, anything. It's crazy. You know, the number one thing that I get is like from people, it's like, man, I finally found somebody like that I can identify with because I haven't seen it. And so just from like businesses and personal development spaces and stuff like that, everything, this is why I do, like, you want to talk about the Hollis Company, I respect them for that because they do bring people, you know, of color, you know, on their stages. And I respect that 100%. But these businesses and other things like that, they want to bring the safe black guy, right? The guy that's suit and tie, that's safe, that doesn't just push the envelope. And it's crazy. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but it's facts. Like when it comes to speaking, at least top 10. You know, like I know I can go on a stage and mold. I'll just put myself there. Or top 20, top 30, 40, 50, whatever. Top 100.
But the thing that is appreciated about you is that you don't fit the normal prescription. Like that's why I've been following you for years, is because you look like my best friends. You look like somebody I'd chill with, and like I'd be like, "Yo, what's up?" Like that's why I followed you since 2016, 2000, whatever. Like because you're relatable. Literally, I've gone through. I think I went through it a little too quickly. The whole entire like Trent's Inner Circle, like just because it hit home. But it's so relatable, and I literally just feel like I'm hanging out with a friend.
Yeah. And so
other people who are in the suits are intimidated.
Well, and I want to be clear, man. Like I don't want to like be like, oh, my way is the way, because if that's what you are, then great. But my thing is like, why does it have to be that way? Like why? Like if I was I want to say clean cut, because I feel I'm clean cut. But if I was a suited and booted guy, if I didn't talk with slang, if I was, you know, not like this, I'm telling you right now, my career would be a lot further. Yeah. But I'm not willing to sacrifice anything because, like I said, what I'm fighting for. And I will say this, it's starting to change a bit. You start to see people a little bit more relaxed now, more people dressed like this. Yeah. I speak to certain businesses now and stuff like this, and they accept me because they realize the messages that people need. And the message that people need isn't always about success. I preach this all the time. Everybody wants to talk about success. Everybody wants to sell you dreams, and they don't tell the other side of it. There's no point of being successful if you lose yourself with it. And so I feel like I'm an outcast, but it's all good because I know I'm breaking through, and it is what it is. This is a good conversation.
One rehabber at a time.
Exactly. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too.
Let's get it.
Let's get it.
That was a good one. Who else want to come on here? Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That's what we got to get to is we got to break the mold. We got to stop judging books by their cover. You know what I'm saying? And get to read the book. And I think I understand too stereotypes. Like if somebody was to come outside, I'm about to get in a car, they got a hoodie on, mask on, like I'm a stereotype them like they about to get me. Right. So I understand stereotypes. That's why it's important for us to break them too. But it's also us important, like, especially it's not a dangerous stereotype. But the problem is some of us stereotype people as dangerous when we shouldn't. But we have to break that mold, man. We need to stop having barriers that keep people from rising to where they need to rise to. You know, like let someone's talent, let someone's, you know, character speak. And I think we're getting to that place. You know, hopefully through all of this, we can be like, I see your character. You know what I'm saying? I see your character and I respect that. I see your talent. I see your gifts. I see whatever. And you deserve what you deserve. So we all are stereotyped at some point. Like, let's be real. We all judge people at some point, but my point is if you judge someone, like check yourself. There's times where I judge people unfairly, but I check myself. I don't continue that judgment. I'll be like, okay, let me understand this person before I actually judge them or before I come to a conclusion. And I think that's what we need more in this world. You know? So yeah, I just, you know, there's a lot I want to say. I want to say I don't know how to say it, but there's so much that I want to get out that I will be getting out over these weeks. I will tell you that, you know, I think this time is really just, it needs to be talked about, man. And I don't want sympathy. Like, I'm not making this to be like, oh, I should, you know, nah. I don't want the sympathy neither. I don't want to be brought to anywhere because you need a black person. I don't want that. I don't want that neither. I want to be because I'm a beast at what I do. And that's in anything. You know what I'm saying? But don't let the color of my skin make you blind to the beast that I am. That's how I feel. I don't want sympathy points. What's up, y'all? I'm gonna come on Facebook tonight. I usually go on Facebook at nighttime. And my Facebook message, I got a message that the world definitely needs to hear. So it's my Instagram lives with me just to, when I'm struggling to like have the words, I just press live and just like let the heart flow. Yeah. So yeah, man. Who else want to come on here? Anybody got a question? I'm gonna take one more. Would love for you to chat for educators. Okay, cool. How do we keep the momentum going? So that's a great question. I don't know where this is going to lead to. I feel like I don't, just in my years of life experiencing, things that have been going on, injustices, like this feels different. And excuse me, as Rebecca was saying, like if you had COVID, you had school not being in, you had so many barriers. I mean, so many things on this, and this happens. This was like an explosion. Where we go from here is it's conversations. I think it's conversations, it's education, it's educating yourself of, like I said, why people feel the way they feel. Like I have to educate myself even more, and I'm willing to do that. And so you have to have, educate yourself. And then it's like, what could I do? Like, what action could I take? Like, what could I do? What could I do? And whatever that is, like, I don't know what you should do. I don't know. I don't have the plan out for everybody. I don't know. But I do know there are certain things that you can do, even on the smallest level. Like one of the things that I do, I'm a coach. I volunteer my time for football because I know it's a good opportunity to speak into the kids. Some people are like, that's not enough. What I do, I volunteer my time to speak at schools, especially inner city schools. I go and I don't publicize it because I'm not doing it for that, but I go because it's a great time to plant those seeds because I'm a big believer. And if we want to change the future, we got to change our kids. But we have sometimes when people get to a certain place, they feel like they're too good to actually do that anymore. And so I think there's a lot of things that you could do, but I think one of the best things, if you feel like I don't know how like you feel, I don't know how it feels to be this, go put yourself in their shoes as best as you can. Go experience it just for a little while. And then maybe it can bring that feeling of like, I don't know if he's on here, but one of my close friends, we were talking the other day after the shooting was Ahmad, right? That was jogging. And we were just having a conversation. And I was telling like, bro, like, yeah, I'm gonna be honest, like, even with the cops, like good or bad, like I probably experienced a few bad cops. Most cops have been great, excellent. Have a cop that lives right across the street. It's cool. But that trauma of like I was like, have you ever got set down by your dad and you have to go through like a school of like what not to do when you get pulled over? It's like, no. And I was like, so I was like, that's the difference, bro. And it's a reason for that. And I remember that, like 6, 7, 8 years old. And then when I got my license, I remember my dad telling it to my brothers. And then when I got my license, and so he was like, I don't really understand it. And I was like, well, you don't have to understand it always for you to know that it exists. You don't always have to agree with it for you to know that it exists. And so anyways, he hits me up the other day and was like, man, I feel what you felt. He was basically in a position where, not to tell the whole story, but he actually felt like, dang, this is how Trent has felt and feels, and other people, not just me, but other people. And so it changed his whole perspective. And that's why I say, man, like if you can experience it, put yourself in the environment, understand it, whether that's actual, like putting yourself in the environments or actually having a conversation, it'll change your perspective. And it's called empathy. That's how I'm able to help a lot of people. Like when somebody's depressed, I know how it feels to be depressed. And so I can have empathy for that person. When somebody's lost somebody close to them to suicide, I know how it feels. I can have empathy for that person so I can really help that person. And so I think we know what to do. I think some of us are afraid to do it, which I understand it, but we gotta we gotta put aside our fear. Like, we can't preach fearlessness and operate in fear. We can't preach courage and, you know, not be a person of courage. I just, you know, I don't get that. And so, yeah, even this conversation, I know there's people going to disagree and whatever, but I'm willing to have whatever conversations with whoever to get to the other side, even if the conversations don't go right. It's about having these conversations. It's about being uncomfortable. It's about looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, you know, what could I do to actually make change? And that's where it starts, you know? It's not about, oh, you're wrong for this, believing like this. You're wrong for this. It's their experience as a human being. If you were in their shoes and you had that same experience, whether it's wrong or right, you might think like that too. And so when we can get outside of ourselves enough to be able to see the bigger picture, to be able to try to understand people, we're able to actually heal. We're able to actually move forward. We're able to actually communicate. You know, when I was at the protest, it was a lot of yelling, throwing stuff, and I understand that. I understand the outrage. I understand it. It was a lot of kids. There's a lot of teenagers leaving. I understand it, right? Outrage, and they're just speaking what they speak. I saw the police officers. Some took a knee. I don't know if they were tired or whatever. They had a lot of gear on. It was like some Call of Duty stuff. I was like, is that really necessary? But who am I? I've never been in their position, so I can't really judge that. But then some was just looking like, I don't care. Just had that demeanor. And so it's about putting yourself in that position and just saying, how can we come together? And unfortunately, everybody doesn't want to look at the world like that. So I don't even know if that's a cause that's even ever going to happen, but I'm willing to fight for it. I am. I think enough of us are willing to fight for it and make some changes, then we can make some progression, you know? So it just broke my heart, you know, when I made the video, when people were making excuses for George Floyd's murder. I was like, how could you make an excuse for that? Like, and I just want to say, like, if you have a but on top of something blatant as a murder in this situation, you're being very insensitive, and it might be underlying racism, just to be honest with you. And you might not even know it, but if you're like, but he shouldn't have used a $20 bill, or but he shouldn't have resisted arrest, but he shouldn't have been whatever. And it's like, are you really trying to justify injustice right now? You know? So that's just my 2 cents. Not that it matters, you know, but I just want to come here and talk a little bit because I needed to talk. I needed me some therapy because I've been having a lot bottled in, man. And I just want to just try to do my part. We lose, yeah, and that's another thing. So like I talked about it, people are like, "Oh, you're encouraging the riots." I was like, "What are you like?" I don't think people. Matter of fact, I know. On a whole different note, I know people don't read. I know people don't listen. Like I know. Like I used to have events when I had my events, and I literally can be like, "Hey, you go to blah blah blah.com," and blatantly, and then they'll be like, "Hey, where's the website?" I'm like, "What?" I know people don't really listen, or people don't listen to understand. They listen to disagree, or they listen to reply. Like people don't listen to understand, or they don't read to understand. They either listen to disagree, to prove you wrong because they have a significant issue and they want to prove themselves right. And I'm not saying ignore what's right for you, by the way. But some people, again, they just want to, they like it. They like drama. They like to argue. They like to, you know, start things. Like that's what they do. And people are like, you're talking about, you're telling, no, I said, if you understand why people are protesting, right? If you took time to understand people's pain, you will understand their actions. You'll understand why they're protesting. Let's be real. A lot of the looting ain't from protesters. Let's talk facts. Like we've seen it, right? A lot of that ain't from whatever. And I don't agree with any of that. I don't agree with tearing down nothing. But if somebody was to act out of rage and like even in sports and throw their baseball bat down or break it or break something, we would like, okay, I get that. They struck out. Right? We would actually do that. Or you get a technical and they get kicked out the game, you like, and I know this is on a whole different level. I'm not saying it's right, but I can understand if you've been outraged and you don't have nowhere for your anger to go. And again, all the protests, all this stuff is going on is a problem. That's the result. That's a result of the main problem not being handled. If the main problem was handled, none of this stuff would have happened. And that's the problem right there. We're always focusing on the things to justify injustice. You know, the same people that, you know, even in my divided states of America, I said, you get blackballed for taking a knee, you know, in the land of the freedom of speech. And people hung on to that and was like, oh, you support Colin Kaepernick and all this stuff. I support Kaepernick for standing for what he felt for. How many people in this world stand for what they stand for and you support them? You know, that's how he felt. And that was real. And then you got people now that's sitting here that got outrage and anger about somebody taking a peaceful protest, and he put his career on the line. He did. He's not in the NFL no more. And I know how it feels to be a professional athlete, to really love something. And I get y'all, oh, well, he has money. It's not about the money. With sports, when you really love it, like he does, and he put that on the line, I understand the sacrifice. I understand it because it's more than money. Like, that's life. Ball is life. And I understand how bad it hurts when you lose it. So I can only imagine his position by taking a peaceful protest. But people had a problem with that. The I Can't Breathe shirts, people had a problem with that. So I don't think it's a protest problem. I don't think it is. I think people just don't want black people to speak up. And I didn't say everybody, so don't get offended, but that's what it is. And so now when this happens, like, oh, be peaceful. People tried that. People tried that. And we ignored it. And so if you had a problem with Kaepernick taking a knee and you have no problem or you ain't outraged, whether you agree with it or disagree, like, I'm not, like, if you disagree with Cap, cool. Maybe something you don't agree with. I'm not against you for that, right? That's your perspective. But if you were outraged about that, you damn sure better be outraged about this knee. Somebody murdered. And if you're not, then we get it. We know what you really care about. And that's the America that we live in. As I said, the divided states of America. And people hated me when I said that. But we're not united. Some of us are. But it's the analogy that I use with people now is if you had a garden, because I'm an optimist person. Like, y'all know my perspective. I try to make it my power, but my perspective is not going to make me ignorant. My optimistic self is not going to make me ignorant. But if you had a garden outside, and some of you gardeners know this, you had a garden and you had a beautiful garden. You had a beautiful garden. And you had just a little bit of weeds in your garden. Just a little bit. Maybe 99% of your garden is perfect, spotless. You're getting garden of the month. You had a little bit of weeds. Would you leave those weeds in there because it's just a little bit? Or would you get those weeds out? Because you know, even a little bit of weeds is messing up your whole garden. And that's how we got to look at this world. Even a little bit of evil is messing up all this goodness. And if we don't get the evil out, if we don't get those weeds out, it's messing up this beautiful garden. And so, guys, whatever God has called you to do and open up, do it. And I'm not surprised by this because if you're a believer, this is prophecy being fulfilled, to be real. So I don't even know, if things will get better. But I hope they do. I hope they do. Because I got kids, man. And I don't want them to grow up in the same world that I grew up in. So I'm going to get off of here, man. I've been way too emotional these last few days, but I love you guys. Whether you agree with what I said tonight, today, anything in my whatever, I love you. I do. I love you. I don't love you because you agree with me. I love you because you're a human being. I love you because you've experienced this life that's been hard for you. You don't have to agree with me for me to love you. You don't have to like me for me to love you. I love you, and I understand you. I get you. All right. Peace out, guys. I'll talk to you guys later. Let's get it.